Hi, welcome to our marketing presentation for Team Saighead. We are part of the Berlin industry.
Our team is myself, Jennifer Geddes, and Jolly Munjal, and Sean Sullivan. We will be presenting our firm's results during the Markstrat simulation. Next slide, please. This slide shows the agenda of our presentation. We will start with our overall team performance and provide summaries of our products. We will describe our key successes and what lessons we have learned in the Markstrat experience. Next, we will cover segmentation and targeting specific customers and talk about product concepts and perceptions. We will give an overview of the pricing strategy, promotion, and placement of products. We'll conclude with a summary of our results. Next slide, please. Team Saighead had a slow start, but after period 8, we ended up the highest volume and highest retail sales. We started with 2 average products and we finished with 3 successful ones. We were able to cannibalize our competition's market share. We completed 5 R&D projects, which we will cover in the individual product slides. Our firm was ranked 2nd overall to Team R. The R team had a head start right from the beginning with 2 high-value products that provided additional revenue with more advertising and commercial teams. But we were able to be well on our way to being number 1. Next slide, please. For the evolution of the product soft to sonic, we began with good brand awareness and market share. Research demonstrated we are roughly targeting savers, mostly shopping at mass merchandisers. We were off track with every product attribute with the exception of battery life, and we were losing market share quickly. In period 3, we started a new research project and we changed most of the brand characteristics. We decided to go after savers segment again, partially because it was the largest market and we already had another product for the shoppers market. We introduced the new product Sonic in period 4 and we slowly gained market. Once we increased advertising budget, our brand awareness rose over 70%. We kept the price of Sonic low to attract more savers. Sonic contributed over $3 million to our profits in period 4, and by period 8, Sonic was contributing over $11 million. We started with a production of 96,000 units, and by period 8, the production had risen to 312,000 units. Next slide, please. Solo had approximately 1/3 of the market share to start and was more focused on shopper segment. Our market share started dropping in the initial periods since our brand characteristics were away from the ideal characteristics. We did an R&D project in period 3 to enhance features and display and to improve power and battery. Our brand awareness was pretty high, around 78%, so we maintained our brand Solo when we introduced improved product in period 4. We became the sole leader in the shopper segment. Our commercial teams focused on mass merchandisers and specialty stores. With the increase in revenue in later periods, we were able to invest more in advertising budget and we were able to grow our commercial teams. We ended up making unprecedented sales in period 7 and we captured 71% of the total market share within the shopper segment. We grew our production multifold from 95,000 units in period 1 to 725,000 units in period 8, and we were the highest market share at 67%. Next slide, please. Our initial thoughts with respect to our Solus product were to target both professionals and high earner segments, but we were leaning towards professionals. At first, there was a high demand for Solus, and we were unable to meet production first period. But in subsequent periods, we showed declining sales. Something had to change. We ended up refocusing after 3 periods towards high earners, since they had the least amount of competition. Most of the other expensive products were targeting professionals. The new modifications proved successful based on the sales results 2 periods later. High earners had 85% brand awareness, and we controlled 67% of the high earner market share. And now we will hear from Sean Sullivan regarding lessons learned.
Throughout the simulation, we were able to apply different marketing concepts, and we learned various lessons along the way. We have several keys to success which we were able to apply throughout the simulation. One of the important things that we learned was targeting specific segments with specific products. So we learned that we need to take one product and only target one segment, because if you try to target more than one, then you don't get either, and you still pay the price for having to produce all the units and the research, development, and advertising. So we learned that we need to target one product into one segment. The other thing we learned is that once we do any kind of research and development products or modify products or introduce new products, we first needed to focus our advertising to change perceptions of that product or introduce the perceptions for that product, and then we could focus on increasing the awareness in subsequent periods for that segment. We also learned that we should only put advertisements for the segment we are targeting, because there's no point to try to target segments if they're not going to want the product anyways. One of the other important things which we use as a key to success is production forecasting. Many of the products, when we initially modified them or introduced them, we were unable to meet the initial demand, but we were able to use the purchase intentions multiplied by the market forecasting to correctly forecast what production needs would be in subsequent quarters. This allowed us to capture the most amount of revenue from all of these products. One of our other big keys to success was being able to plan ahead, because in any business, you need to think not what's going on right now or in the next period, but you need to be thinking 2, 3, 4 periods ahead, and not just what you're doing, but what other companies are going to be doing as well. By planning ahead for yourself and by what you expect others to do, then you can perform well in the market and stay ahead of the game. A couple things that we would do differently is we would have maintained our initial product line with just 2 products instead of expanding to 3 right away. By doing 3 products, we divided up scarce resources, and ultimately this was shown in our initial results with our low share price index and low revenue. By focusing our efforts on just 2 product lines, we could mass more resources into fewer areas. The other change would be that our initial R&D projects would be for our 2 existing products, which were Solo and Soft. By modifying these products sooner and not focusing on the 3rd more expensive product, it would have been cheaper in the short term for us to do both of those instead of the one more expensive, and also we would have been able to capture more market share earlier, thus driving higher profits overall. For segmentation and targeting, there were a few different things that we were able to learn through the simulation to apply to major marketing concepts. So in any market, there are always several different segments, and through market research, you need to be able to identify these segments to be able to sort who to target. In Markstrat specifically, there were 5 distinct segments for the sonite market: explorers, high earners, professionals, shoppers, and savers. Each segment responded uniquely to changes in price, whether or not they were price sensitive, and to the 5 different product characteristics. One of the things that you need to be able to understand with segmentation and targeting is that their desires can be vastly different, and you need to know who you're targeting and how you want to target in order to create the product for that segment. Essentially, it needs to be measurable. The segment needs to be large enough in order to sell that product. They need to be differentiable between the various segments, and then you need to be able to act on that information in order to produce a product. One of the things that we noticed through Markstrat is that the brand loyalty varied between the different segments. For folks such as high earners, they were more loyal to existing products, whereas low segments such as savers and shoppers were more important on price. I'll now turn over the presentation to Anjali.
Product concept starts with an idea that has been formed by examining what customer needs and wants. Products can be tailored to meet the needs and wants for different segments. During the concept testing, firms get to analyze customer reactions. The customer must find the value in a product. They accomplish this by weighing the total customer benefit versus the total customer cost. For our representation here, we selected the benefits to be personal and product. The costs are represented by monetary, time, and energy cost. Each person will buy the product if they think that the product will enhance their life experience and they can afford it. Initially, we started out with a very basic product that formed the job, and gradually we modified our products beyond expected to the augmented level. By doing so, we gained perceived brand loyalty because our firm was able to listen to our customers and make the necessary modifications. In the end, we were able to gain market share based on the perceived potential for our existing products as well as the newer brands going forward. The multidimensional scaling analysis depicted on this slide shows that the brands were directly on target with our segment perception. Next slide, please. One of the 4 P's of the marketing myth is having the right price for the product. We analyzed different market research reports to gain full understanding of the market, took operational cost for the product, planned production, and inventory into account, and then tried to price the ideal price expected by the targeted segment. It is important to see how the ideal price evolved over the periods and how other brands were pricing their products in order to be the market leader. For our products like Solo, we decreased the price initially to gain more market share in that segment, and then kept the price steady towards all the later periods since we were the only leading brand in that segment. Soleil, another product, was introduced in period 3. It didn't capture the market share as anticipated, so we increased the cost to make high earners aware of our product, but still try to price it along the ideal price. On the other hand, for Sonic, we mostly kept the price steady, since savers are very sensitive to price, so we just moved the price a little bit here and there. So depending on the product details and market requirements, we priced our 3 products accordingly. Next slide, please. For product promotion and product placement, we use market studies such as distribution panels, competitive intelligence, and perceptual maps to position our products appropriately. We realized that by putting in sufficient budget for advertising and research, along with building up specific commercial teams, are very essential for driving the anticipated sales. In periods 2 and period 3, we were focused more on the research and development projects, and we could not invest into advertising. So we ended up losing our targeted market shares. We had 3 products that targeted 3 different specific segments, so that also forced us to spread thinly across. Monitoring the distribution coverage and purchase habits of our targeted segments helped us to adjust the focus of our commercial teams appropriately. So in later periods, we grew our commercial team size to expand our coverage and penetrate deeper into the market. Based on market requirements, we either maintain brands like Solo or we rename products like Soft to Sonic. Thus, with improved products, along with the good advertising and high distribution coverage, we were able to get the highest market shares. Next slide, please. Saighead Company had the highest selling products by retail sales as well as by the volume. We are the top selling brand. Solo was the highest selling product in the shopper segment with 67%. Soleil was also the highest market share within the high earners with a 60%. And Sonic ended up being the second largest market share with 26% among the savers. With the increase in the advertising budget, we realized we need to bump up the production in order to capture the anticipated market growth. At times, we lost some potential sales due to inadequate production. Pricing also is an important aspect, and pricing around the ideal price is crucial for success. And in order to sustain growth and maintain leadership, it is essential to target the right segments and focus the commercial teams appropriately. Last but not the least, investing in R&D and thinking ahead helps us stay focused and sustain leadership in the market space. That concludes the presentation from Saighead team. Thank you.